I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cindy.
And we're here with another Feeding Frenzy for the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwene Gaines, a simple guide to unlimited abundance.
Wow.
I almost got that memorized. And here we are at the end of the book.
Today we're talking about telling the truth. It's still in chapter 8.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, practice living and speaking from your sense of authenticity. Make it a habit not to hedge the truth or to speak in half-truths. Be someone that others can trust will tell the truth about who you are and what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you tell your truth with love, you empower others to live from truth as well.
Now that's the truth.
Today we need to think of a recent moment when you did not tell someone the truth or did not tell the whole truth. Now go back to that person and tell the whole truth. So where are you with that one?
I'm really having a hard time with that one.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because I'm just normally truthful. I find it so much easier just to go on and say what's laid on my heart to say than it is to try and beat around. I don't understand running around the bush to get to
I've thought about this one a little bit too.
the concept.
I think that we've been to Edwene so much and we've been through this book several times that we've done this over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know about you, I can't speak for you, but I've learned to live more from that place and practice it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm in integrity with that already.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like there's anybody that I need to go and talk to again because I've already done these things before in the past.
I did have one person that came up, but it wasn't that I felt like I was untruthful. It's just something I felt like needed to be said, just never came up.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't come up in the conversation. And, okay, I acknowledge that, and I intend on addressing it the next time, just for my own well-being, from where I sit. But I have been living authentically for long enough that I just can't imagine not.
Right.
It's just not who I am.
But as I read this time, one thing that came up for me that I think we do really well and that other people might gain from is our scale. Mm-hmm. And I believe that helps us to live from that place of authenticity. Yes. To have our scale. I don't even know what we call it now, but
I think we just call it the scale.
Yeah. When I want to find out your true feelings on something, I ask you, where are you on the scale? Mm-hmm. And usually
it's from 1 to 10, 1 or 0 to 10. Mm-hmm. 0 being forget about it, I'm not doing it, I don't care what your excuse is. I'm not.
It's usually about going somewhere or doing something.
Right, and then 10 being I'm going regardless of what you think about it.
Right.
So somewhere along that scale.
Mm-hmm. And a 5 is I could do it or I could leave it. It doesn't really matter. I don't care.
Yeah.
And
4 being I really don't care to, but if you're insistent upon it, I'll go because I love you, or I care about you. 6 being, I really kind of want to, but I could be swayed either way.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really, truly helped not just us, but our whole family.
Yes.
Into knowing how we truly feel and feeling heard.
Yes.
I think for the kids, it's really helped them to feel like I do have a say in this. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to go for it or that my say is going to make it one way or the other, but at least I've been heard.
And I think it's a good way to state your feelings without someone else taking offense.
Right.
It is a great way to know that when I ask you where are you on your scale, you're being truthful to who you are in this situation.
Right.
And it doesn't have any bearing on where I'm at on my scale or anybody else.
Or what I think you want me to do.
Exactly.
That's where it always got iffy before we had the scale was sometimes I would say, yeah, I want to go, only because I thought you wanted me to go. Or vice versa, And now when I tell you where I am on my scale has absolutely nothing with what I think you want me to say.
Yeah.
It's truthfully where I am.
Yes.
And if left to myself, this is where I would...
If I had to make the decision alone, this is where I'm at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that has really helped me because I know you know that even if I say I'm at a 3 on my scale as to whether I'll do it or not, if you're at a 10, I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
Just because I love you. And I think that means more when I do go on a 3 than when I go on a 5. You know what I mean? And if I just say, yeah, I want to go because I know you want to go, then I don't think you really get how much that means until I tell you, I really don't want to go, but
Yeah.
I will,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think
Well, and it's helped our kids, too, because then it helps us gauge where we are before we leave.
right.
And where they're at
Which
before
one's
we
going to
go.
be upset.
And which ones we know, okay, doesn't really want to be here, but is going because they're part of the family and they have to ride anyway, or
right.
they're really going to enjoy
But what I've noticed is they don't tend to be rebellious and fussy,
Yeah.
and they already know that we know they don't want to be there,
Right.
so they don't
Right.
have to show us in other ways. And we try to accommodate that too, and knowing that that child doesn't really want to be here, we somehow make it more special or different for them.
Yeah.
So it has really worked wonders.
The scale has absolutely, I think, helped us remain in integrity to ourselves, first of all. But secondly, it also helps us gauge where everybody else is at and then making a decision accordingly.
Right.
You know, we use the scale for everything. Really everything that comes up, and it really helps the kids see that it's okay for me to feel like this, and I can state it without somebody getting mad or upset or changing somebody's mind. I know my daughter anyway she'd feel out how everybody else is feeling before she'd weigh in where she was at, and it was based on how everybody else was feeling, and did it go on with, does she go along with that? When the scale came around, I think it really freed her to say, I can tell you how I'm feeling here, and it's okay.
Well, I was going to say, I think it helps teach our children not to be just people pleasers.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up, was I was pleasing everybody else and never had my own opinion because of that. And so it helps me to have my own opinion and it be okay. And nobody get mad at me.
I think more often I want you to have more of an opinion than you do.
Well, that's because I was raised not to have one, and my opinions didn't matter, or I felt that way. So now I'm glad that my children, their opinions matter, and they know that. And it may not go their way, but they've been heard. And, if somebody is a 0, none of us go.
Right. Right.
Or if somebody's at a 10, we'll all go to
Just to
support
accommodate.
that one person.
Yes.
And I've been a little shocked at first, but I've found that the kids don't abuse the scale.
They really don't.
By saying they're a 10 when they're really not, or a 0, either one. They truly tell us the truth, and then we can act upon that and make a good decision based on everybody's opinion.
Yeah. It's a good, safe way to teach our kids that the truth really is the best way to go, especially if you're wanting to be heard. If you really want people to understand where you're at, it's a good, safe way to introduce the truth to them.
I agree.
That's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
Shereen,